Ah, yes, the Agony returns, and also, yes, Jason. Yes, we are so delighted to have such a special guest with us. I'm going to introduce you right away because here you are in person after we saw you in person in Trek, Long Island this past Memorial Day here for the States. Seán Ferrick, what's going on?
Hi, everyone. It's so nice to see you again. Like, as you say, confirmation, we're real. We're all real.
We're all real.
real. But hey, fair play, you know. It's so nice to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And it's a delight to have you come and sit in Agony for Fairhaven.
Yeah, out of all the episodes, this seems kind of appropriate. Seán's here because I'm sure he's got some thoughts.
Yeah.
Some opinions rolling around. Yeah. Definitely fitting as well that after we met in Long Island, I am sitting in Ireland about to discuss this episode. Just give everyone a heads up there. Like, you know.
That's true. That's true. And
come on, we got to say, what were you eating before the show too? Just to land the whole Irish theme of this, what were you eating?
Now, we don't believe in stereotypes here, he says, wearing green, but I did have a full plate of potatoes before. That's not even a joke. I literally had a plate of potatoes before we jumped on this.
I love potatoes.
Me too.
Potatoes are delicious, of course.
Yeah, they're universal.
Yeah.
Globally. Did you decide to put eyeballs and ears in them? And little
and then we switch the faces up and then mouths. Yeah.
That's how you know they're good.
Like, are all of your potatoes like spies in America? Like, you know, they will look different today.
Yeah. And then depending on where you get the potatoes, they cut differently. So it's always like, what? Every time it's different. It's like rolling the dice. Well, we have a synopsis. It is great catching up, but let us have Jason Roy Gaston read said synopsis.
Capt Janeway falls for an Irish barman character she modifies within Tom's holodeck Irish village recreational getaway for the crew called Fairhaven. Who wrote this? Have you ever heard of a comma?
IMDb hasn't.
That's what they have.
I almost spent hours on that, Jason. Hours.
That was AI, wasn't it?
No, that was
IMDb. That was legit me just copying and pasting.
Yeah, it was way
before. IMDb.
This episode was written by AI.
This definitely felt like an AI written episode. All right, well, WTF did we just watch? I love the pixel. The pixelation is just.
Hey, gravity's a real thing, guys. We're all getting a little bit older here. Like, let's respect the captain.
Someone's potatoes are showing.
All right, let's start with you, Jason Roy Gaston. WTF?
So, first of all, you know that I'm impeccable for taking notes whenever I write anything, and they're usually like pages long. These are my notes for this episode because I think I just went into a trance at one point, you know, just watching this, the lilting flutes, the green pastorals, the bad Irish accents. And before I knew it, I was just comatose, just saying blue hearts, yellow moons, green clovers. So it's, I think that they just built this set for what was going to be like a 10-minute intro on the holodeck, and Rick Berman walked in and said, "How much money did we spend on this? How much? We got to do 2 episodes on it." I can forgive episodes for being bad. An episode that is this boring, I simply cannot abide. And I think that is what this episode is. It's just boring. It goes nowhere. It does nothing, and no one grows. It has no effect on anything else. And guys, this was the last season.
No, second to last.
Was this? I think this was the last, wasn't it?
No, season 6. 7 seasons.
Okay. Well, all the same, they should not have been doing this. This episode should not have happened. At least it should not have happened this way. There were many things that they could have picked up on and ran with that would have made really good Voyager Star Trek drama that made us question many things. And it wasn't that they were unable to. It's just that they chose not to. And that is my big problem with this episode. That's what I think we just watched, is just an episode that just didn't try.
All right. VHS Chase.
There's nothing like building a giant Irish village in a Californian backlot. You can't avoid that, can you? Every time they do that stuff, you go, that's Californian sun. I can see the dirt. I can see the Californian trees. You just can't avoid it. I actually thought, yes, this was boring. But at its core, it had some really interesting ideas, especially around sexuality and frustration, because really we're dealing with Janeway here, who's been a captain they've been out in space for 6 years. Intimacy would be lacking. She's looking for comfort. She's clearly not of right mind, because maybe you would have done that in private, maybe not in the public. Hologram program, I would have chased that down. But there is an interesting idea around there. And sometimes Star Trek does get into the, that sexual part of that life. And that just, it just wasn't interesting, But I hate it, but I love it at the same time. Janeway getting dark in this.
Yeah.
She gets dark.
Super dark. It's so good.
There is one moment that Jason's got an image for us, but I won't spoil it. But I will say, she has a moment I'm thinking,
just spoil it. Just spoil it. I give you my
Wipe them out. All of them.
That's not mine.
We got that vibe, didn't we, from that moment where you went like,
delete
the wife. Whoa, like Janeway, relax, lady. I'm sure the only other person that would have been really happy in this episode was 7 of 9, who really got some great moments of looking, nodding, and that's basically it. She was like, I'm glad I'm not in this script. I'm out.
Tuvok got to act sick, which basically reflected the audience.
All right, Sean, the floor is yours, sir.
It was funny because I was rewatching it, and so I have to agree, it's dull, and I think that's one of its biggest flaws. I know you were like thinking, oh no, surely the Irish stuff was its biggest flaw, but actually I obviously have a lot to say about that. But I think if you compare this with Spirit Folk, for as bonkers as Spirit Folk gets, it's not dull. Whereas this one it feels like a sort of a 15-minute plot that becomes a 45-minute episode. I agree with you, Jace, 100%. There's some really interesting comments and approaches to, well, what is the captain supposed to do? There's that conversation, that incredibly insensitive conversation in the hallway where Janeway looks the emergency medical holographic doctor dead in the eye and says, can you a hologram? Can you imagine? Oh, the humanity. And the doctor's like, okay, fine. Frankly, there is one question, right? So this is never really satisfactorily explained in Star Trek. A holodeck is a certain size. It can only be so big. Now, we've had things like if it's one person, the scenery evolves around them. Like you're walking on a treadmill. You just don't know it. But it is discussed several times that lots of the crew are in Fairhaven. And I'm also allowing that there's 2 holodecks, but still a lot of the crew are in there. Where did Janeway and Michael Sullivan go for 3 days? Or was it just that holodeck 2 was super duper Captain deadlocked and everyone else was in holodeck 1?
I'm guessing that Janeway was just like, everyone get out of holodeck 2 now.
Red alert.
Either I like to think that like the holodeck makes like little bubbles around everybody, and that it the floor is the treadmill. So I'm guessing that Janeway and I don't even remember the guy's name, Seamus. I don't know. Janeway and Seamus were being shameless. Yeah, Janeway and Seamus were being shameless, like 3 feet away from Harry Kim, who's like looking at a cow. Wow, what is that noise?
You really wish the moment that the holodeck would just fail right in that moment, just to see everybody in their worst possible position right at that moment.
And then you have someone like I don't know, Chakotay, right? It's just popped into my head just to give him something to do. You just have Chakotay's there goes, you knew what this was. You knew what you might see.
Yeah.
But okay, so like I have there's logical things which are just like okay. The return of the Janeway bun.
Yes.
That was awesome.
I didn't even notice, but you're right. Yeah.
And Fintan McKeown for all, because I mean he is an Irishman, for all of the accents that go on in this episode. In my head, I remembered them being so much worse. They're actually nowhere near as bad as I think your imagination, the long ladder, fills in. Like,
but what about this one, Sean? Though this guy, I mean, just had the worst.
Yeah, that's Seamus.
Like, that was the worst accent,
do you
right?
know what it is about Richard? Really, he's just so lovable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you might talk to another Irish person. The Irish person be like, "No, that man must be like arrested for crimes against Ireland." But he's just, I mean, he's Bataille. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, he's the dude from Cold Station 12. He's Richard, really. You know?
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, right. His is particularly bad.
We got to call it out, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Tommy boy, come here to me, Tommy boy. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. I gotta have a few shillings. It was just right. Yeah, it was like, well, okay. It's like that meme where the kid's like holding a cup of soda, looking down, like, oh no.
I had wimpy vibes from Popeye with this guy. You know, if you'll give me a couple of shillings today, I'll pay you back on Thursday.
Yeah.
You wanted a hamburger.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need a potato. Give me some shillings today. I'll pay you back on Thursday.
Yeah, Paris be like, I have a potato here. I didn't ask you for a potato. I asked you for money to it. There's funny thing you were mentioning obviously about this set. So I'm watching this being just like, I love the fact that they just completely transformed mid-20th century France into mid-19th century Clare village and went, no one will notice. You know what I mean?
Not like nitpicking fan base or anything.
Cannot remember the last time we got that weather in the west of Ireland. It's not saying it doesn't happen, but that's consistent sunshine.
Oh my gosh. That's my favorite part in the whole episode is whenever Harry says, we need to add fog. And Tom goes, no, fog is depressing. Remember, we're going for authenticity. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Depending on what year it's set, west of Ireland wasn't the most fun place to be. There's a reason you don't see potatoes.
There was a famine.
Everyone's in at the moment. Oh yeah. There's a reason.
Yeah. What got me on this episode is flute, man. I was like, I'm halfway feeling I should be in Lord of the Rings, and I'm expecting like Frodo to run across at some point because the flute that kept playing, it just kept buzzing in my ear. The theme to the Fellowship of the Ring.
That's how you know you're in Ireland is the lilting flute.
I didn't get rid of that. Like
Gollum running past, going, Fairhaven.
It's playing outside right now.
Oh, it's playing outside right now, Sean?
You know, if you're in Ireland, there's a lilting flute. If you're in England, you hear God Save the Queen every time you look outside. It's just, you know.
And if you're in the south of France, you still look out your window and see the Eiffel Tower.
Everywhere. Oh, there it is.
I won't even tell you what that happens in Australia. But we mean it nicely.
Yeah, totally.
The Opera House and two koalas doing it.
They're koalas. They're our gods. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, especially in Star Trek. They're literal.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing was like that. I thought they were going to build some stakes. Like a lot of the time, and not me, but like a lot of the times in the intros for Star Trek, there's something that, here we go. We're going to have this big thing and we're going to play the intro because you want to build on this big thing. And instead was like, yes, we're going to bring some other people in here. Let's do it. And then it goes into the theme. It was like, no stakes, nothing to worry about. Everything's good.
It's a storm, kinda.
It's kinda. That was just weird. It was just like, okay, so there's nothing to really worry about, anything going on here. But yeah, that's how it goes. Let's hit up the next section.
Hey, that's That's a normal thing to happen to people, all right?
Yeah.
You know, extreme stars, you may lose bodily functions.
Poor Geordi. He was coming to help, and he just walked right into it.
Ooh.
And wasn't there a whole big thing about Worf not bathing in the first season? So that's
yeah.
going to be extra.
Yeah. You know, Geordi could probably see it too. He's like, "Oh, I gotta get her in." Oh God.
I gotta help him.
Without the visor, it's actually got to the point he doesn't even need the visor at this point. He can still.
Yeah, I can see the mist.
This is gonna linger on my uniform for a month.
Yeah, I kind of think that you kind of went into Jason Roy Gaston. Why would they do that? But go ahead. Tell us.
Why did they? Oh gosh, why would they do this episode? I think it's just because they made a nice set. I really do. I think they made a nice set, and probably an edict came down from Rick Berman or the accounting department and said, you know what, we made a nice set, you got to use it or you don't get money for something else. And they thought, oh God, let's do a holodeck episode. And then I don't know, some nerd is probably like, well, every time you get on the holodeck something goes wrong, isn't it a trope by this point? Oh, you're right, let's just have a soap opera on the holodeck. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I keep thinking, what were they aiming for here? The only thing that I could think that they were aiming for here is that and again, this is just my speculation with absolutely no evidence. I think that this episode started as a Janeway doctor episode.
Yeah.
I think that this started out with Janeway going on the holodeck, which, I mean, let's face it, this is basically Tom makes a toy and Janeway uses it as a sex object. Number one, ew. Number two, Janeway, you got a replicator for a reason. Use it, please. Get off the holodeck. I'm not kink shaming, but there are, there's a time and a place.
It's called the holodeck.
Yes, it's called holodeck 3. It's the one that's not being used. But my thinking is that maybe they were going to do an episode where Janeway gets a fascination with a holodeck character and changes the program, and the doctor starts taking issue with it, and it becomes this battle between Janeway, you don't understand, I just need to get laid, and the doctor's like, no, that's not right, because they were doing lots of holographic right stuff in the last couple of years, which I really enjoyed. And I honestly kind of thought that's where it was going to go, but the doctor never picked up on it. And I think it was Seán who said, yeah, there was this really insensitive conversation in the hallway where Janeway's basically just saying, oh, he's a hologram, he doesn't matter, ew. That's the only thing I can think of, is that they wrote this and then for some reason or another, they yanked all the teeth out of the script. And it just became this amorphous soap opera thing that just went nowhere, in my opinion. So that's my speculation. I don't know why they did it, but if I was to guess, that would be why.
I think they did it because Lord of the Rings was coming out and they wanted something to get the flute in time before Lord of the Rings. And we want you to get this flute in your head, not the Lord of the Rings flute. And, everybody else that's a fan of both, like myself, is going backwards and going, oh man, this is the Lord of the Rings flute.
You have flute issues, don't you? So you can't play Oricana of Time or anything like that.
No. It's very difficult. You don't know.
Screw this Zelda game.
It's not playing.
We do not besmirch Zelda here. Don't you dare. I will.
No, I love Zelda. Zelda's
from Australia. I'll punch you right in your face.
Okay. VHS Jace.
I actually think the idea behind this was about loneliness and about the fact that as we trudge in 4 to 5 years, as she states in the episode, what is that doing to the psyche, not just of Janeway, but other people? Because we've got Tom Paris, who clearly has a lot of spare time, making these intricate holodeck programs just probably for sanity reasons at this point, So there's that, and I think there's a little bit of going mad scenario. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the beginning of Star Trek Beyond, where it's that drudgery that they are going through.
Oh yeah.
And how do you deal with that drudgery? You either look to have a relationship with a imaginary, person that you've created in the holodeck, or you make these fantasy realms, and everybody's on board, right? This is the most popular thing on the ship at the time.
Right.
So I think that's what it's dealing with. It's dealing with the madness that must be forming by being on that ship. There's so many stews of Neelix you can eat without having to throw up. There's only so much you can do with this. There's only so much of Harry Kim complaining he hasn't been promoted yet you can tolerate. without that. So that's where I think it is, you know. However, I will say Tom Paris is not exactly the best writer because we've seen this and he's written some pretty stereotypes, and also with his Flash Gordon ripoff, which, you know, is very archetype. You know, he isn't exactly... You wouldn't say he's Stephen King or anything else like that. No. That's what he should be making. He should be making horror ones just to keep the people going. So, but yeah, honestly, that's what I think it is. But they just didn't execute it properly because what they really want to do, they can't quite do on UPN at that time. They can't really dig right into what they should be dipping into.
Yeah.
Would horror really be something that you'd want to expose the Voyager crew to after everything they've been through? It's like, well, we just faced it. Yes. Hey, Seven, I know you just saw like decapitated Borg and your zombie dad with the Borg Queen. Hey, I have this program you're going to love. Now, here, go on in there. You just hear this blood-curdling scream for like 5 minutes, and Seven comes out later just looking all composed going, thank you, and just walks away.
Isn't that a missed opportunity with the episode too? That Seven, you could have had a lot of fun with Seven.
Can I hit the button?
Being in that town.
Oh, hit the button.
Can I hit the button, Jason?
Hit the button.
Hit the button.
Yeah. I love that. Every time somebody says
if you don't ask permission. If you don't have
I regret making that so much.
It's so fun. It's the D coming out.
It's like our version of I don't know one. You can't do that on television. It's just great. I love it.
Yeah. All right, Seán.
I think, yeah, to be fair, I think, Jason, you made a great point. There's so much stuff that they couldn't have done on UPN in the 90s. Or I think this is right at the end of the 90s. Jones also, in the context also, season 6 of Voyager is airing season 7 of DS9, and your two big holodeck episodes of Voyager are Fairhaven and Spirit Folk. DS9, you've got Take Me Out to the Holosuite, and you've got Bada Bing Bada Bang, and of course, sorry, you've got the third, you've got not in the Pale Moonlight, excuse me, sorry,
Armand Bashir.
It's Only a Paper Moon, just in that year alone.
That's a great one.
You've got
what a comparison.
Yeah,
and you're kind of like, so like, I mean, obviously, it's funny the fact, obviously, they're different networks, but it's the same franchise. I mean, obviously, they're talking. You know, you've got writers, you know, who are talking across. Oh, you're doing holodeck. We're doing holodeck. What are you doing? It's like, you know, oh yeah, we're doing, you know, the exploration of trauma and losing oneself into the horrors of war. What are you doing? Seven plays rings at Sullivan's. So. Which is, I've no problem, by the way. Keep it light. I love a light, fun holodeck episode because you can have so much fun with it. And it's like, it's just like, you could have leaned into the ridiculousness of it a bit more, which again, to be totally fair, they did do in Spirit Folk. Mm-hmm. I don't know if maybe they could have mashed the two, because other than Delete the Wife, look, is on its own pedestal in terms of lines from the two episodes. But the best line from the two episodes comes from Spirit Folk. And, you know, there's, you know, the MacGuffin of the week means, you know, we have to, you know, shut down the program. We could lose basically the same plot again with a different setting. And B'Elanna says, with all due respect, Captain, Michael O'Sullivan can be reprogrammed. Tom and Harry can't. And they're like, that's an idea. What then? What's our angle here? Is it, like you said, is it the sentience of holograms? And if it isn't about that, can we just leave the Doctor out of the episode altogether because awkward? Or is it that it is all cosplay and nothing matters? So lean into that even more. Like, you know, keep it era specific. I was going to like, go ridiculous. Oh, we're in, you know, 19th century Ireland, and yet here's a phaser rifle. You know, like, you know, we could do whatever we want. And with the greatest of respect to Fintan McKeown, Michael's not that interesting a character. And he's given weight that we're supposed to really root for him and Janeway as characters when he is a tool. He is framed as a tool. We are shown her retooling him. And I don't think that the ending, you know, please block Catherine Jamer from being able to make any more changes. That doesn't, I think that's what they were trying to do, is like, no, he's a person. This is, I think it's all a little bit muddled because I don't think they knew what tone was the right tone for this episode. And then you have, look, your MacGuffin in space. That's fine. I actually love the idea of batten down the hatches. We'll have to anchor our way through, and we'll invert the tachyon pulse, and it's fine. Brilliant. That's cool. We get some gorgeous shots of the ship in this episode. And I love the gags, like historical accuracy. You've got the harp backwards, stuff like that. I love that. That works for me. But it's like the ringboard. Is they just threw things at it. And like that's in the episode. It's that Key and Peele sketch. Oh my God, it's in the episode, right? That's in the episode. That's in it. I love it. It's in the episode. And it feels a bit like that. And because it's all of these little bits that don't come together very well, is that it then doesn't become greater than the sum of its parts. It just becomes, it's the laundry basket. And somewhere in there's probably a fresh shirt that probably shouldn't be in the laundry basket, but they're all in there. They're all mixed in together. And someone forgot that you're not supposed to mix them all into the one thing. And yet we get delete the wife, which is, kind of like, computer, please transfer emergency medical hologram to this room. Doctor, you're watching? Execute this character.
Yeah.
Catherine, what are you doing?
Wipe them out, all of them.
Yeah.
All so dark.
Yeah. Very dark on Janeway. Very.
I mean,
dark.
she is a kind of dark character at this point. Post Tuvix, she's always going to be a dark character for some people, isn't she?
Yeah.
Like, I suppose. I mean, I'm not mentioning the T word, but she has a history of executing people. You know.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, she does a good. She tried to do it a few episodes before, like, oh, Ransom, you rascal, you got away and blew up your own ship, but I was coming for you.
Yeah. Janeway the Terminator. Yeah.
90s Star Trek captains were like, you do not F with 90s Star Trek captains,
Yeah, right. I mean, Janeway will execute you. Cisco will smile as he poisons your planet.
Yes, exactly. That's right.
I remember my partner just did his first ever full watch through of DS9.
Oh.
And by like season 2, he'd kept a running tally of what was Cisco's war crimes this week.
It's like, babe,
assume you need a big whiteboard to cover all that, I think.
Like, babe, how many people is Cisco going to end up killing somehow?
That's a nice planet. Be a shame if something happened to her.
Yeah, exactly. But yet still, he's my favorite captain. I don't know what that says about me, but
yeah, you're going to serious complicated. Garrick comes off as a sweetie,
Yeah.
When Garrick is like, well, it's a bit much, man.
Yeah.
Settle down, mate.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it is time for redeeming features.
Do we have any redeeming features?
The gleam in his eye. All right, VHS Chase, what are your redeeming features?
You kind of got me big time. Redeeming features are, I think conceptually there was a good idea they just didn't pull off. Obviously, the actor, you've said his name a million times, Seán.
Fenton McGill.
Yeah, he's a great actor. He's a good actor. He's a quality actor, even though it's probably not his solid performance. He was great. He was believable. Yeah, I mean, the storm stuff was pretty good. It was. Yeah. It was, something there. And it was very nautical way she approached it, which I kind of love. I always love when Star Trek makes nautical references. I think it's, it's really important. It's something that they've really kind of peeled open back in Star Trek 2 with Nicholas Meyer approaching it. And they continue throughout all Star Trek, that kind of thing. That really, this could be set 300 years ago on Earth in naval ships. So, coming across different races, coming across Australians, and thinking they are weird. Like, we need to wipe them out now. So
everyone,
look, yeah, it's tough to find a lot of redeeming features in a show that was tonally so flat and really was a struggle. There's some little nice moments like the ring part with 7 of 9, just. They're kind of good little gags. The fog gag was good. Yeah, why isn't there fog? Yeah, I mean, besides that, though, not a lot of joy happening here. Not a lot that sticks out for me as going, that was awesome. Yeah, and it's really hard because most of the episodes we do on this show, there's always something I can pull out the episode and go, that was awesome, except for Code of Honor. Nothing awesome about that. So just clarify that. No, but besides that, yeah, there's always something fun to be found. This is a tough one to do. But I do like the set. I do like the set a lot. And it made me smile because, like I said, I know in that era, that's all filmed on the Paramount backlot. You know, and I just get it. It's maybe not joy from the episode, but it's a joy behind the making of these episodes and what they had to do, you know, to make, because that would have been a Western set. I know that was a Western set that they just redressed. You know, a week before, someone was riding a horse through that thing. Doing
it was
take her out.
Didn't Unforgiven come out in this time around this period?
Only about 6 years earlier.
Oh, 6 years. Oh, I thought it was.
Yeah, and Unforgiven's a Warner Brothers film.
Yeah.
Not to
take over, I know as well. Like did you get this when it opened up? I went, that's the Killing Game. That is the set in France in the Killing Game, because you're dead right. It's the backlot. Do you know what I mean? So what I didn't notice, and actually I picked up, I knew like the store. I knew that the physical things are the same. Apparently, there's a couple of like Easter eggs. The storefronts are the same. So which is like, surely that's being used in the meantime. So that must have been a deliberate, like, we'll throw this in as a bit of a nod. So sorry to speak over you. Sorry.
No. Oh, the only other redeeming feature is Chakotay calling Janeway out on the bridge.
Oh,
I like that moment where he goes, I know what you've been doing. And she gets all embarrassed, turns her head, doesn't want to recognize it, but then has to admit. So it was one time, there's not that lot of moments with Chakotay that I'm a huge fan of, but I did like that moment. I thought, good on you, buddy. Call it out. She's been dirty.
She's doing a lot of this.
What was that one?
Jason Roy Gaston.
I'm still trying to figure out the reference you just made with the last screen cap. So
yeah, me too.
I don't get it, Joe, but I'm sure it was gross. So redeeming features, Richard Reel, a great character actor, showing up with the really bad accent, which he was shameless. I just saw it. Yeah, it's always a pleasure to see him.
Actually, sorry to interrupt. Richard Rios. Guys, you two experts by the side of me. How many times has he been in Star Trek? I feel like he has been
not enough.
So it's a few. No, he was in the Inner Light. He was the Inner Light as Bataille. He was in Enterprise Cold Station 12 with the Augments.
That's what
he was a colleague of Phlox's, and then he was in this, and that's off the top of my head. So there might be someone else screaming, and he was played Dax. You know, like, but I don't think he was ever in DS9. And to the best of my knowledge, Enterprise is his most up to date appearance.
Oh, so he hasn't been anything lately.
They need to fix that. He needs to be in.
Is he still with us?
Yes, he's still with us.
Yay! Yeah. Awesome. Good.
Yeah.
Getting me more.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember him most from Office Space.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're all screwed. We're all screwed.
Oh, he's actually, you know what? He's younger than her. He's only 76.
Oh,
cool.
So he can totally.
He must be like Wilford Brimley. Wilford Brimley looked like 65 when he was 30.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, he must have that same genetic thing.
Yeah.
Fun fact: Wilford Brimley was 17 when he filmed the thing.
Poor Wilford. Don't be too harsh when he's got diabetes. So
all right, Seán, your redeeming features.
Joe, I have little moments in this really work for me. Like the scene with Janeway and Sullivan where they're doing the arm wrestling. I think that's just great. It's just a fun, light scene. And I think Kate Mulgrew is very good in this episode. You know, it just kind of, it gets a bit muddled with all of the bits going around. Tuvok getting space sick. You know, I love that. Like, you know, what do you think, Tuvok on the water going up and down and up and down? And some great, some great lines like, generally Vulcan physiology is very sensitive to this kind of thing. Well, we could use you as a barometer, Tuvok. You know, things like that. These are good, fun bits, which are just they're kind of lost in, you know, oh, do you remember the episode of Fairhaven? Oh, the Irish one, yeah. But there is a lot in there to enjoy. And you said it as well, the ring game, where Seven is like, I have superior hand-eye coordination. You know, and he's like, Saints, bit. Praise us, you know, oh, could you hawk it? You know, I'm like, yeah, right, oh, why not? like Harry in his desperate search for a plot that week, is sitting there in the boater hat. Kind of tell me about it. Does she have a sister? Wooden teeth, as if that's a bad thing. Wooden teeth, at least they'd probably be all symmetrical and everything.
Yeah, true.
And I think, funny enough, you mentioned something, Jay, a second ago, that Paris not being a great writer. I think it's like they looked at the characters once they kind of like, because I'm thinking Sandrine's is the earliest example I can think of him writing stuff. And they went, that's what Paris does. And I'm just like, you've already got him as the devil may care pilot. You've now got him at this stage. You've got him as the family man. It's like, kind of, what else are you going to throw at this character? It's, maybe Chakotay is the writer. Sorry, guys. Chakotay was the first officer on Voyager. He doesn't do very much, so you probably wouldn't remember him very well.
That's so true. He's just kind of there. Yeah.
God, at least that's something Prodigy seems to be fixing. Is that there's he gets more to do, and kind of in that trailer for season 2, I think we're like more.
Oh, did they drop the trailer?
Yeah.
Oh, they dropped the trailer.
I have to go.
I'm still angry I never learned French.
The clip. I'm thinking of the clip. Yes. Anywho,
we do know.
But and like I love his fact that no matter where you go on the ship, give it 5 seconds, Neelix will turn up behind a counter. You're not even safe in the Sullivans. He's like, "Hi guys, what can I do?" Jesus.
It's like Roger from American Dad.
Yeah, he disappeared.
Hello. Janeway, looking for a little something on the holodeck.
Oh man,
I'm concerned about your morale. Go away. No, and it's so funny. Ethan Phillips, nicest man on the planet.
Yes.
Neelix, there was an awful lot of like, what does Neelix do in this episode? At least B'Elanna, I think B'Elanna is there. That's so, like she's on the ship in this episode.
She's
that's the thing as well about 90 treks. It's sort of written into the, as long as there's one line, you count as having appeared in the episode. Therefore, we fulfill your contract. I remember doing an interview. I can't remember someone before, and it was effectively that was the contract. You were contracted for 26 episodes, not contracted for 26 decent meaty scenes. You were contracted to appear in the episode. So B'Elanna on Astrometrics, she's the one that drops anchor. There you go. Roxanne Dawson's been sorted out for this week. Next, and Voyager is guilty of that. Chakotay, where does Chakotay even go in that scene? Like he walks up, she's there with Michael Sullivan. He's like, "Hello, Captain. Hello, Chakotay. This was a meaningful scene," and he just walks into a building.
I like to think he's like an
he's just walking straight across services.
Yeah, he just walks into the wall and just keeps walking, but he stays in place.
Like Resident Evil.
Every now and again, his default dialogue kicks in. He just goes "Hakuchi Moya," and that's all he says.
Yeah. My biggest feature that's redeemed in this one is just like Sean said, these beautiful ship shots. Angles in this episode made me appreciate the ship a lot more because I've always had a weird quirk with the small nacelles. It's like, but there's so much ship in the front and then the back is tiny little. But this one,
a lot of words just to say that you're wrong.
No, I'm not wrong. No, totally not. But I don't know. The angles in this one was like, oh no, it makes sense now. So I don't know. That redeemed it for me. But the really cool event that took place was the 2 binary stars colliding and causing this ripple effect. I was like, oh, neat. Is that going to be like a Nexus thing? And they're going to get caught in some type of like unescapable? But it's just like a storm. But I thought it was still cool to go through, have that experience of going through that storm. It was like there was a movie with George Clooney where they got caught in between 2 hurricanes and they were trying to go through
Perfect Storm.
Why didn't I not know that movie title?
I like that.
Wolfgang Peterson directed. Brilliant.
Yeah, great film. And I was like, oh man, maybe we're gonna get like that type of big serious threat here. And then we just like, okay, we figured it out. We just throw the deflector dish and it'll shoot a ray and we'll be good. Then it was like, oh, okay, no stakes, never mind. But still very cool to see it and how they come through and you see on the display screen it just dissipate, and then they were good to go. So those were some of my redeeming features.
I don't know if this is a redeeming feature, but I'm surprised none of us has brought it up. Like the obvious thing. What is it with redhead women in Star Trek having weird kinks? We've got Beverly and ghosts. And now we've got Janeway and holograms. Like these redheaded women, like there's some kinky gals going on in the Star Trek universe. So,
yeah.
I can say that because
No more kink shaming. No more kink shaming.
Yeah, no more kink shaming. Yeah. Oh man. Well, that brings us to Aftermath.
We were just talking about you. Everybody hates you. Congratulations.
Yes.
It's true.
That woman
It's
is
true.
a queen.
Love that scene so much.
Yeah. Amazing.
I can't wait for the movie. And I've got to be honest with you, this show was lesser when she wasn't in it. Like when we lost her for that last couple of seasons, it was like, oh, I wish she was in it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Section 31.
Yeah, very excited for that. I don't know. I love the 5th season of Discovery. I thought it was so much fun.
I don't want to disparage the season. I'm just saying it would have been better with her in it. Let's just face it.
Well, everything
she
would
could
be
have been
better
in the
with
commercials,
Elio
and
in
the
it.
show would have been better. So.
She could have done the bumpers like Star Trek Discovery. We'll be back after these messages. I know you're paying for the no commercial option, but you're getting commercials.
I would have stood up and applauded and go, amazing. Give her another Oscar.
So would that Section 31 movie give her an Emmy opportunity as well?
It
Technically,
should.
Oh, EGOT. Are you thinking
it could be an
EGOT?
EGOT. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she has to do the Tony. She has to win the Tony then.
She
as
could
well.
do it. Anybody?
And
She
she has
she can do
to
it.
sacrifice the blood of a virgin, isn't that to get another?
Well,
No, that's a different thing. That's all right. That's
I was going to say this.
We'll let her have one. It's fine.
yes,
I think
she deserves it.
that's a standard Tuesday at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a thing I want to bring up. So a plot hole in this episode, if you will.
Sure.
So we have
In Fairhaven?
We have this gigantic subspace anomaly that's going to be hammering the ship for days.
Yeah.
And Neelix walks up to Janeway, in his usual creepy "poof, I'm here" fashion, and says, "Hey, I have a great idea. This horrible subspace anomaly is going to be hammering the ship for days. Let's open up the holodeck so that everybody on the ship can come in and play on the holodeck while this is hammering the ship." Janeway, being an experienced captain, should have said, "Are you insane? Do you have any idea what subspace anomalies does to the holodeck? Do you want everybody to die? Neelix, go to your room now."
And
That's
Joe,
something I
to
just
double
Fair
down,
point.
to agree with you completely, obviously there was a problem because the holodeck safeties must have been turned off because there's a brawl in O'Sullivan and Harry and Paris and Neelix are all sitting in sickbay afterwards. Like at that point, you not go, right, turn off the holodecks. We've got a safety issue. We'll figure it out afterwards. And then they would have had loads of time for the holodeck shutdown thing. They would have had no problem at all. Was that not the first, maybe something's not right here?
Maybe Janeway turned him off.
Maybe, because she had to kill the wife.
I could just see right before she turns off the lights, disable the holodeck safety protocol.
Or maybe
She did not react to seeing two of her officers. Yeah. She did not react to seeing two of her officers having the shit.
She didn't want anyone to know it was her.
Yeah, that's right.
Delete the wire. Okay, also, this was not filmed on the Paramount backlot. This was filmed on the Universal backlot.
So it wasn't Forgiven. Yay!
Same. They all shared the same backlot. Believe it, but the Beaver House was around the corner.
Another fun fact about this episode is that at the end, Tom says that it will take 6 or 7 weeks to complete repairing Fairhaven. 6 weeks later, we got Spirit Folk.
Really?
It lined up right.
And my favorite fun fact about this is that at one point, the Doctor, while playing the priest, somebody comes up to him and says they've broken the 5th commandment, and he waves them off and says, say 10 Hail Marys and go away.
It's Seamus. Yeah.
This is the thing. In Protestant denominations, the 5th commandment is honor thy mother and father. But in the Catholic denomination, the 5th commandment is do not kill.
To the document, it doesn't matter.
I don't think Janeway was the only one who deleted a wife in this episode.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Now you know how the wife got deleted. Yeah.
So it was a horror hologram. See, I'm right. It was a horror based.
There was a
And
big
was this
horror. There was a big horror
cross-denominational
story
one?
going on in the background. We just didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Did Seamus kill his mother and father? Is that the cross-denominational thing going on there? Yeah.
Oh.
You know, and the doctor like, sail 10 Hail Marys. Seamus was just like, that's all. I'll do
this again.
Deleted scene of him just sharpening knives.
Oh, Tommy, don't you know the new cleaver costs a shilling? Would you have a shilling spare for it? You're Ireland's greatest monster. You know that, right?
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I've got a small plot hole or catch, if you will. Audio visual unsynced I got from IMDb because I did some Googling today, so I'm proud of myself. I figured we were gonna have the best on. We might as well have something and make me not look less silly, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When Janeway says maybe I'll stop by the pub, it's actually clearly dubbed, and Kate Mulgrew clearly says something other than the word pub.
Oh,
so you have to look at her lips.
Was it the F word or something like, which would be, I guess, would be more normal.
Yeah.
For, dare I say, an American performer to say, like, you know, in the bar or something like that. Whereas, yes, here it will be the pub.
Right. So,
by the way, Janeway's got no game when it comes to flirting.
No.
There's no subtlety in her flirting.
No.
She is just like all in straight away, right? She comes with if she walked up to you in a bar and started looking at you like that, wouldn't you slowly start to move your drink away?
Well, I've got to go, miss. It's been nice. See you.
Janeway wants you
following you at the door going, delete the wife, delete the wife, delete the wife.
You know what I've just remembered, actually? Yeah, this episode sets up one of the biggest, like, exploded my coffee all over the screen laughs I had in Lower Decks. And they're on Voyager, and it's just Michael and his wife, and he goes, I miss my wife. And just continues on wiping down the console.
Oh no.
Oh no.
You remember her?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Now, that would have been a funny gag at some point, saying, you know, she's like flirting with him, he's flirting with her, and going, you know, you remind me of my wife. She died.
Yeah, that was pretty
last week. I don't know why it's not bothering me more than this.
Yeah, it's the Cunningham City. She went upstairs one day and never came down again.
Never came back. No, it's like Family Matters. It's a little girl. Oh man. Well, we actually had, as we said earlier, a chance to hang out with you in person. And you got to go to one of the most amazing places in New York. And we've got some, and of course, if you saw the thumbnail, you've seen it. But I'm sure you'd like to share a little bit of your time in Ticonderoga, where you had this amazing photo.
He's not allowed to have any more photos. The internet has said, you've nailed it, you've done it. That's the pinnacle of photos. Good night.
Fair. That's fine. That's fair. That's done. That's fine. I'm deleting all of my socials except for that one photo.
That's going to be your obituary photo many, many years in the future.
Yeah.
Oh, like at this stage, if my obituary doesn't start like 1701 or something, like I have clearly messed up. No, yeah, my partner Stefan took that picture and I was so delighted with it. Like it's so cool. It's like it's a bit of a drive. Because one of the first questions we asked is, you know, with the greatest respect, why Ticonderoga? Why there? And it's James Cawley's like hometown, like that's why. But which makes perfect sense. Like if I mean, I'm not moving the Star Trek stuff that I have from here. You want to see it? You come to me. That's fair enough, you know. And just like I'd seen pictures, but it doesn't really like you're on the Enterprise. Do you know what I mean? Because like it's like not only you've got some bits which are 100% like original off the set, and everything else it's blueprints. It is exactly what they saw in 1966, 1969, and it feels it. Like there are some bits where you just like it's really cool walking the corridors. That's a really cool feeling. Listening to the ambient sounds and everything, then going into sick bay, you're just like, oh, this is brilliant. Like this is really good. You got that cool material that like, on the bed that Khan is lying on that like no one makes. So it's like the unique, Captain Kirk's quarters. The bit like, obviously the bridge takes your breath away. Like there's no, obviously it does. Engineering really got me more than I was expecting because it's just so cool. the conference room, things like that. The decon chamber is, it's just things that are just like, this is so cool. So like you're walking around, and I mean the tour itself. I was laughing a little bit because like, when you walk up to someone who is a Trekkie, but you don't want to be like, how's it going here?
Yeah.
Like walk in, test the waters a little bit, see what's acceptable level of nerddom and everything. And then I say, like, we got through the first couple of rooms, and it was a bit like, I had heard of that. Yeah. We get to the third or fourth room, and we're like, kind of, oh my God. And the third unit director on that episode was just bonkers, right? And it's just so much fun. Like, you are among friends, you know what I mean? And then I enjoyed the gift shop. I hope they enjoyed my money. I was good fun. I was good looking around at like the costumes, which are not yet mine, but one day. Looking at you, Finnegan from Shore Leave, I want that sparkly top.
Yeah.
But just the care and the attention to detail. And you know what? Give yourself over. Just have fun. Like if you're going that far, odds are you are going to. Do you know what I mean? And when you walk in, like I went in full cosplay. That you saw it there. Like I'm very guilty in my time of I'll do cosplay from the waist up, generally because I don't have an awful lot of the trousers that fit. But this time I did, and it was just fun. It was silly. It was brilliant. You know what I mean? You're not going to be judged. If anything, you're judged for going in civvies.
Yeah.
Although you posted up some pics of you sitting in the chair and all that, and I had to judge because I said you had perfect Starfleet officer posture the whole time.
Yeah.
Every photo, you are upright and you are sitting correctly. No one was going to discipline you that day, my friend. No captain would have been very pleased with how you were handling yourself.
There was a full security team standing just off thing with just phasers pointed at me. Like, oh, you're going to slouch, were you? Get back up.
Sorry.
You have keys in your back pocket? Take them out now.
I cannot recommend it enough. Like I was saying, like, you walk in and you just know, right, this is Christmas for a Trekkie. And I've seen a couple of people. I wasn't right. A couple of people have alluded to that. I think there's talk of a TNG set, not the one in LA, not that one.
No. We actually interviewed him. His name is Ray Tasay, and he runs the neutral zone in Georgia, sweet Georgia. And they've got a really cool one. We've been invited down there to do a live Agony booth, and we're just trying to work on the logistics, something in the future. Right. But that one's very cool too. And they did the show Star Trek Continues.
Oh yes.
Yeah, they did that from that space. So there's opportunities. Right. Yeah. But the rumor is somebody's rebuilding the D somewhere.
There is there is a location in LA, but unfortunately the one is not one that we want to support.
Oh, that sucks. Okay, gotcha. No problem. Done.
I know that.
I'm going to start one in the backyard because
go to Australia.
That's right.
James Cawley is building TNG sets because I've seen the video. I know
that's what people were alluding to. I would love to. Based on the original series ones, I mean, you're going to be on the Enterprise D if he gets his way.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to go on the Star Trek Experience bridge whenever that was still open, just unbelievable. Just so I can, as soon as it's open, I'm going back to Ticonderoga myself.
So last century, you saw that basically.
Yeah.
Star Trek Experience?
2008 was not last century. Cool.
Not that I'm wanting to age you out, Jason. I'm very old, that's all.
You know what? I may be old, but I still look good.
Yeah, you do, mate. You do.
Yeah. And he's also very tall. Like, I was very surprised.
Yes, you are. You are a tall man.
Yeah, very tall man. I was like, he's even taller than I thought.
I love the reaction because everybody expects me to be like 5'0" nothing, and I walk in and I'm like, oh my god, what the
hell? That's what I
like. You just keep on going there, don't you?
Yeah.
Don't make him mad. He'll eat us.
Jason's walking through the corridors and the bridge of there. He's hitting his head on the top.
Yeah, dude. Oh.
Like Mr. Holm walking through.
But we also got a moment to share in a great experience at Star Trek Long Island 2. And you were gifted one of our infamous conspiracy bugs.
Yes, I was.
Was it going in? Was it coming out? That's the question.
Yeah.
And it survived. It survived the travel home to Ireland. Thank you very much.
Amazing.
On the other hand, oh God, I've brought this to Ireland.
And you got to have fun.
Meet you in person. Like, you are as lovely as I wanted you to be. Well played.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You too, man. Fun story. I DM'd you because I was like, I thought I saw you in New York City. And then all of a sudden this picture of you came up and I was like, oh, it's probably Seán. But I have a tendency to try to not to be that guy and scream people's name out. And then you're like, no, you could do it. So that's why I shouted.
Like, anyone walks past me, shout at me. Worst case scenario, I might not, because I was obviously completely oblivious. Now, I think in fairness, you were saying it's NYC. Like, there was probably you and me and the other 3 million people.
Correct.
It's easy.
Even if I did scream, just be like this little voice.
It's like everyone shouts at me. I'm so used to it.
You're awesome.
That was guys, because it was funny. So you were like, sometimes you kind of you pass them and you're like, oh, maybe it is that person, and you're like, hey, by any chance, were you standing on the corner of this street and this street at this exact time? You were wearing this top. I was like, no, that was me. Yeah.
I've got a funny story about Jason. Jason went to Japan last year, and before he went to Japan, something about being recognized, and I said, mate, no one's going to recognize you in Japan, all right? This is the Aussie coming out, the tall copy cutter. No one's going to recognize you, mate. Settle down. He lands, video calls me 2 hours with someone who recognized him. See? And I went, there you go. I bow my head to Jason and his recognizability.
There you go.
It costs like $10 too. It's like, pretend like you know me.
Thank you, sir.
I had a funny one. When I was flying to, because I was over the week before, 2 weeks before. How long was it? A while ago. Anyway, in America, I was flying over and I was connecting through Dulles in Washington. And I think, I got off the plane and I did a Twitter post. I am very tired. I'm sitting in Dulles. Next thing I get a text from Starfleet boy, Sahil, going, what terminal are you in? I'm like, I'm in this terminal. He's like, I'm in this terminal right now. So we ran and we hung out for a few minutes. We got a drink and it was just like, and he was he was flying to Miami. I was flying to Denver. We just happened to be in Dulles at the exact same time. Star Trek, it's everywhere.
It is. That's amazing. Mind blown. And speaking of Star Trek is everywhere, we got a great shot that you shared with us on Twitter, which we greatly appreciate, with you and the Breen, Elias Tufexis, with the bubble. That was amazing.
He seems like a really cool guy, by the way.
Yeah.
I've never seen any interviews or anything. I just met him on the day, and he was just so chill and relaxed and friendly. Yeah, cool guy.
Because do you know what? Yeah. As great an actor as he is, as great as he is a Trekkie. Yes. Like he has slept and breathed Star Trek since he was a kid. Nice. Like he's spoken about this. Like he used to make his own like little Trek fan movies himself and his mates in the basement and everything. So like for him getting to be, sorry, I know I'm speaking for him, but just like for him getting to be on Trek was a dream come true. And that you see that when you're talking to him, you're like, that's not a line. I see how much this means to you.
Which just a small,
which is why I deemed it appropriate to sneak up behind him with a butt bug. I'm like, he will find this funny. Someone got the picture as I was like, I hope he finds this funny. No, he did.
Yes. Oh man, Seán, thank you so much for joining us this week. And I think it's time to spin the wheel of agony. Eyes.
All right. We've added a couple in the last week. We've added, thanks to Jason for this, was we added the Jihad, the animated series episode. So, and also, can you believe we've never had this on the wheel? The Naked Now. How did we not have the Naked Now on there?
Yeah.
Now on there. And sure, just to remind you, if they're yellow or red, we consider them, with lots of love, a bad episode. If it's in green, that's our good episode. So, there's a little bit of bit of paradise in there with, and currently it's the Dyer's Cast is our
From Deep
good
Space Nine.
episode. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So-
I could, because it's upside down. I was like, the Dirk, a clerk.
We're trying to get our Klingon font pretty accurate going here.
Yeah.
And
right.
please just recognized how one Klingon really is enjoying being part of this wheel, and the other Klingon Worf not so happy to be part of it.
Yeah.
That's pretty on brand for Worf.
Yes.
The only way that Worf would be having a worse time is if Alexander was with him.
Or in the words of Worf, who?
Who?
Right, boys, let's spin this wheel.
Let's spin.
Oh, is it going to spin for me? Here we go. You see, Klingon's a little bit wonky. I made that on purpose, so it does not. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Close my eyes. What do we got? We got the good one, guys.
Oh,
nice.
Dyer's Cast.
Nice. So, Jason, please read the synopsis.
Now rejoined. Sorry, I have a cat on my desk. Now rejoined with his former mentor, Garrick is ordered to interrogate Odo about the secrets of his people, while the joined Romulan Cardassian attack fleet moves towards the Founder's home world on a mission of destruction.
And it is not a Star Trek New Next Generation episode, by the way.
Nice.
That's Deep Space Nine.
Yes.
Oh my god.
It's the secret that is unforgivable.
Oops a daisy.
Yeah.
There you go, guys. That was it. We will be doing the Dyer's Cast, and awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
Again, Seán, thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us, suffering through your jet lag. We had so much fun. We hope you did too. I think we did.
It was so much fun. That's like you said it perfectly. For an episode or episodes that are, this has been so much fun.
Yeah,
and that's the main thing. You know what I mean?
Exactly. VHS Chase, thank you so much for pulling all this stuff together and staying up so early in the morning, waking up before the sun.
I was up at 1:30 doing work.
Yeah.
I have to do a heap of editing. So I'm like, I'll do some editing and then we'll do the show. And then I'll be asleep at 10 o'clock in the morning.
There you go. We really appreciate that. And Jason Rogaston, thank you so much for being cool. And that is going to wrap it up for this. That is going to wrap it up for this episode of the Captain Squadron. Please like, share, and subscribe. Give us a rating if you're listening on your favorite podcasts. And we will see you next time. Live long and prosper.
Wipe them out.